Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode here at the Fit Fighter Podcast, a podcast gym of inspirational fitness talk. I am your host, TJ Williams. I'm certified AFA instructor as well as list mill body combat instructor. Here to give you insight of my fitness journey, discussing and analyzing fitness-based subjects, and highlighting individuals involved in fitness past, present, and future. All right. So for those who are just joining me for the first time, this is pre-recorded. So whatever I talk about in this episode will either has come up or done past. But just to give you an update, I did have knee surgery, so I'm recovering, and I've been switched to a adjustable brace. So it's time to get that knee to go from 0 to 90 degrees. So that's going to be a mission. I'm not going to stop working out neither. I got my upper body. I may not have my lower body to do workouts, but I got my upper body. I'm getting ready. All right. So I have a guest with me today. So he's been doing fitness for over 20 years, and it's a long time. So he's on a mission as well. And he's a former kickboxing champion. Yeah, that's a plus. And he's a longtime martial artist. So this definitely is going to be a good episode. So may I introduce everybody to Mark Williams. All right. So how's everybody doing? How you doing over there?
How's it going, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm recovering. I'm doing good. I'm not going to let this injury get to me.
Nah, you gotta stay forward. Keep moving forward.
All right. So, of course, tell us what you do nowadays. I mean, what do you do today?
I'm still, like I said, still involved in the fitness industry, more bodybuilding now. I coach, I train. My fiance just did her first pro show, the Linda Murray Wings of Strength out in Savannah. So I got a couple of girls down the market now that I'm starting to coach. They're interested in getting in the industry and the fitness industry and stuff like that. So that's my thing, and I'm getting ready for my show November 19th out in PA. So
awesome. Hey, so you're gonna bring us back in time. So I mean, we're gonna go into like a DeLorean type time machine. So we're going 88 miles per hour. Yep, and we're going back to time. So can you describe yourself how you were before you got into fitness?
It's funny how people don't believe me, but before I got into fitness, like when I was in my early 20s, once I got out of martial arts, because again, the biggest influence in me in martial arts was my father. When he passed, kind of like lost its luster. You know what I mean? For me, my brother continued it, but I just kind of fell off. And when me and my family moved to Puerto Rico, there wasn't much sports there. There was volleyball and soccer. Neither one of the two I was a big fan of. I grew up in the Bronx, so I was more the football, baseball, basketball guy. So I had no outlet, so I started eating and gaining weight. And when I was in my early 20s, I was close to 300 pounds, and none of it was muscle.
Oh, man.
None of it was muscle. You know what I mean? And what opened my eyes was when I found that I was going to be a father.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I tell everybody has that eureka moment when you wake up. You know what I mean? And for me, it was, I'm going to be a father. What kind of father am I going to be? Am I going to be the kind of father that's sitting in the park, overweight, out of breath, not enjoying my kid? Or am I going to be the kind of father that's running around the park with my kid and like, I'm going to get you and all that kind of stuff. So, I really started looking into the aspects of nutrition. I used to buy a lot of the bodybuilding magazines. And when I would see an article or a study they did, I would try to look up the study. Now, that means back in the day before the internet, you'd have to go to the library. Okay. Yep. If we're going back in time, you'd have to go to the library and find the books and read up on how many people were in the study and what were their lifestyles like. So I started doing a lot of reading and started learning the aspects of nutrition and how to implement it into my lifestyle. And like I said, I've never looked back. I got the weight off, and kept it off. I mean, I'm 46 now, so.
Yeah, that's mean. I mean, I can see that's a push. It's got to be some type of push that gets you in fitness. Like for me, I mean, you deal with high blood pressure, and then of course your doctor tells you that if you don't take care of yourself, you're either going to get a heart attack, or in this case, I was told I was going to get cardiomegaly or enlarged heart. So yeah, and I was thinking around that time I was like overweight, and I didn't have a daughter. I have a niece. I have two of them now. So that's my inspiration,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to be able to interact with my nieces, and I got my oldest niece is 15. So I got to worry about anybody messing with her. So I can definitely teach her how to defend herself. So yeah.
And it's like I tell everybody, me being, because my mom's Hispanic, my mom's Puerto Rican, my dad's African American, right? So here's the thing: on both sides of the family, we have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes. You know, so that was a little bit more of a plus to push me into learning proper nutrition and how to eat right to avoid being like a lot of my uncles who were just on so many different types of medication to control their blood pressure, control their cholesterol, and all that stuff. So it's kind of like you said, and like, you know, there's always that one thing that snaps for you and opens your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And thinking about like challenges and difficult challenges, what was any challenges that you faced when you were like starting training?
The biggest thing I found, and believe it or not, was the way my family reacted to it, believe it or not. Like my ex-wife, my mom, my grandmother, because again, in the Hispanic culture, being chunky or overweight is considered being healthy. Like you'll hear Spanish people saying gordito es saludable, which means chunky is healthy. Yeah. Right? So they couldn't understand why I didn't want to eat the fried pork chop, why I didn't want the mountain of rice and beans, you know, on my plate. Why are you measuring everything? And how come you're not drinking soda and you're only drinking water? And you know, they couldn't understand. And then it took me a while to actually, like, I would get so angry at times. I'm like, you guys don't understand. Like, but then I had to realize, well, they're not going to understand because this is my journey. It's not their journey. You know, they're content how they are. Like my mom and my grandmother, you guys are older already. So, you know, you guys are where you are in your mentality. I'm in a different spot. So I have to focus on my journey where I see myself being in a year or 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. So, and that's what I did. But I would say that for me was one of the biggest obstacles was almost not defending it. I always thought I had to defend or explain why was I doing it. You know what I mean? And it started getting times with there. I mean, there were times when I wanted to stop because I'm like, I'm not conceited. Everybody's like, oh, you're being conceited. Like your whole family's chunky. Okay, but I don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, so after a while, like I said, I just started to realize, like, look, this is my journey, not theirs. And I was able to get past it.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I see it the same way. You know, I went from going to fast food restaurants to like now I cook my own food. It's like I'm not going to spend my money getting McDonald's when I can cook my own food and save money. So
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, probably the only time I would go to McDonald's if I'm like traveling to like wrestling shows. I mean, I don't have much of a choice. Yeah. Or I just bring my own stuff. I mean, if it doesn't rot. Yeah. So of course you got all these goals that you're going for. You know, you're losing weight, and then of course, well, at the point when you start losing weight, were you going for any other goals?
My biggest thing was I always wanted to compete in bodybuilding. Okay, I tell everybody I have had 2 loves in my life: bodybuilding and martial arts. Okay, because in my day I grew up. Most people like. I don't know, they say they got into bodybuilding through Pumping Iron, the movie, and stuff like that. With me, it was the Incredible Hulk show, man, with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
That was my very first, like, exposure to a bodybuilder. I had never seen anybody that, like, I'm like, what, dude, it's fucking huge. Like, who is that? You know? And my dad's the one who told me that's a bodybuilder. His name is Lou Ferrigno. And I'm like, there are people that actually look like that walk around. So I was hooked. But then my other influence was Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Okay, I grew up watching, you know, Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection. I grew up watching all those movies. So those were my 2 passions. So the martial arts I did good with. Me and my brother. Like we always did tournaments. We always placed well, especially when we went to Puerto Rico and we did the Battle of the Caribbean and stuff like that. But I never got a chance to do the bodybuilding. Right. So that was always my goal, was for bodybuilding. But and here's where I find it funny. This might be jumping ahead of a question you might ask me later, but just part of the story is I don't think in my younger years I was ready. I had the desire, like I want to do it. But I don't think I had the dedication to pull it off. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's funny because it wasn't until after I kickboxed and I learned what it was to cut weight for a fight, train to be a champion, become a champion, to dedicate yourself fully to that I was able and ready to jump into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
but throughout my whole, like when I started getting into the nutrition, I was always, my end goal was bodybuilding show. I read every article there was about bodybuilding. Every meal plan that I would see, I would try to implement it into my lifestyle. How can this work for me? Because obviously I'm not a pro bodybuilder. You know, I don't work to work out. You know, I don't live to work out. I don't get paid to do it. So I got to fit these meals into my lifestyle. So but again, that's always been my end game, was to step on a bodybuilding stage.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So what it's more, but just like becoming a bodybuilder, you got to go beyond. Like you have to almost like go into the past. Like my art teacher was once told me that, like, to go beyond what you know.
Yeah.
So that's like amazing. Like definitely, you mentioned like Lou Ferrigno, who I actually had a pleasure to meet. Lou Ferrigno. Yeah. I mean, he's huge.
I would geek out only because it covers it covers my geekness, because I love the Incredible Hulk show, and it covers my bodybuilding. So there you go. I meet my idol in comic books and my idol in bodybuilding. There we go. We're good.
Yeah, I think he became a cop somewhere. Did he?
Yeah. He's like what is it? He's a sheriff somewhere. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think I remember seeing him in like one of some Incredible Hulk movie, or the second Hulk movie. He was a security guard.
Yes. Yeah.
So that definitely is like, that's like almost like the indemnity or that he wanted to do. Yeah. Security.
Oh yeah.
All right. So who would you say you look up to in this journey?
Believe it or not, like my biggest influences in this journey have always been, I mean, of course, anybody who's into modern bodybuilding, if you don't say Ronnie Coleman, you're lying. Like, Ronnie Coleman's the GOAT. I mean, the guy, the way he would work out was just insane. But believe it or not, I believe like my biggest influences were guys like Lee Priest and Flex Lewis, like those smaller guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those smaller guys are the guys, because I'm a small guy myself. I'm only like 5'6", 5'7". And I've always had trouble after I lost the weight, I've always had trouble putting on weight, especially after kickboxing. I've always had trouble holding on to weight. So I've always looked at the smaller guys to like being like, okay, if these guys aren't afraid to do it, you know, and get up on that stage and compete against the bigger guys, I'm not going to be afraid to do it either. Like, let's just go. Let's do it. You know?
Yeah, I can see that. Like, really, you can't like you say you're a small guy, and then you got all these bodybuilders that's like either 6 feet or 7 feet tall. That's, you know, I don't think it's like, you're not proper for somebody that's small to be intimidated. So no, I think that's all for like everybody at all sizes, like especially with women too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an amazing journey.
That's crazy. It's a crazy one.
Yeah. All right. So if you were to teach bodybuilding to like of course your clients, what subjects would you like tell them like how to start, or like what to look out for?
The biggest thing the biggest thing I tell a lot of my clients, first of all, is, and this is a question that goes into a lot of depth, if you want to say, because when I get clients who want to follow my way of eating, I'm like, okay, are you ever going to step on stage? And they're like, no, then don't go that strict with it. That's my first thing. You do not have to go that strict. You just got to make smarter choices. That's it. Make smarter choices and you'll be fine. When you come into the bodybuilding aspect of it, now you have to learn the science behind it. And that's what I try to, I've worked with people who have, worked out for years, have eaten healthy for years. But when I start working with them and I start explaining, okay, you're going to eat this at this time, and this is why you're going to have that. This is why you're going to have this. They're like, I had no idea. Like, trying to explain to them when a good carb is a bad carb and when a bad carb is a good carb. And they don't understand the concept. And I'm like, okay, well, let me break it down for you. Before your workout, you say you eat oatmeal, right? Yeah. Are you getting a pump during your workout? No. Okay, here's why. Because you're eating a low glycemic carb. So there's no insulin pump there, so your body doesn't have any glycogen to fuel your workout. If you consume like about 1.5 cups or a cup of rice before your workout, you get a pump instantly because it's a low glycemic carb, and that's going to help spike your glycogen levels. Same thing after your workout. After your workout, you want to consume some type of simple carb to help your body absorb the protein and speed up the recovery process. That's why a lot of bodybuilders drink protein shake with maltodextrin, which is just straight sugar, or dextrose, which is just straight sugar in their protein shake. It spikes your insulin levels and it helps your body absorb the protein. So they're like, oh, wow, like Jesus. Like, again, and with when it comes to the refeeds and the cheat meals, I'm certain you've heard a lot of people say, well, they don't work. Yes, they do. My biggest gripe is people say they don't. They do. Here's the reason why. If you're in a caloric deficit, especially when you're getting ready for a show and you're getting into that last cutting phase, when you're in a caloric deficit for too long, it no longer becomes a deficit. It now becomes your maintenance and your body stops responding. So by having a cheat meal every now and again, it kicks up your calories, kicks up your fats, your proteins, gives your body a break, and then you go right back down to normal. So again, I always try to teach everybody that the importance of good form. Okay, don't go in there swinging weight around. Anybody can do that. Yeah. Focus on the muscle. What are you working? Biceps. Okay, if you're working your biceps and you're feeling it in your forearms, you're squeezing the dumbbell or the bar too much. Loosen your grip. Okay, focus on your bicep forming into the size of a softball. Pause at the top for a 1 count. Get that squeeze. When you come down, don't lock out your arms. Keep the tension on the muscle. Time under tension. Okay, so it's all about the scientifics of bodybuilding that I have to go through with them so they learn A, how to keep themselves fueled properly with food, and B, keep themselves protected from catching an injury. Because that's the biggest thing I see from a lot of bodybuilders who want to go too hard too fast is they get injured. They tear a bicep. They mess up their joints. They're pulling muscles every 2 weeks. Well, if you're injuring yourself that much and you're out of the gym, you're not making any progress. The objective of bodybuilding is to consistently progress. Okay, they always say it's you versus you, right? So you want to bring a better package than you did the last time you stepped on stage, or whatever your last check-in was, you want to be better than that. So you got to make sure you're protected in your joints and your muscles and with food.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing about working out properly is proper technique. So you want to make sure the technique is perfect before you add any intensity or extra weight. So that's important as well. And also breathing.
Yeah, and TJ, like I said, it's funny because I'm a bodybuilder, and I'll be working out, and I don't really go that heavy unless I'm in a bulking stage when I'm in off season. And I'll tell people, like, look, technique is so important. Why do you think there are guys that are smaller than me, weigh less than me, can squat, deadlift, and bench more than me? Because they have the technique of those exercises down to a T, right? There are guys who can bench press 500 pounds. I can't bench press 500 pounds. There are guys who can deadlift like 600-700 pounds. I can't do that. Guys who can squat over 500 pounds. I can't do that. But those guys can do it because they have that technique down. So technique is vital, like you just said. The technique of everything is vital. It's very important.
All right. Okay, so I want to get to a kind of a subject. You know, we hear a lot about this. Like, you know, if you follow Joey Swole, you know, he always had these videos that, you know, people are talking about, like, making fun of people when they're at gym, like tonic gym people. And I know you were like the almost, I can't say you're the victim, but you know, you were like, let's just say you I don't know how you can say it, but you were in a situation that you were a tonic gym person. Yeah, because you did a Facebook live about it too.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, just think about it. You know, I was almost laughing about it, but at the same time, it's like I was getting angry, saying like this guy shouldn't be shitting on people. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it funny that everybody goes to the gym with a purpose, but you want to knock the person that's next to you. Why? Because they don't have Gymshark or Ride-A-Wear or Gorilla Wear on their on their clothes. Like, everybody's there to accomplish something, whether it's to boost their self-confidence, whether it's because their doctor told them to. No matter what, everybody's there for the same reason. If you're there to be part of the social club, bro, go somewhere else. Okay? Don't come to the gym to gossip about everybody else. It just frustrates me.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm the kind of person that even when I'm working out, somebody can come up to me, and if that person coming up to me and them telling me their story of how they've lost weight makes them feel better, okay, let's listen. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to take the 10, 15 minutes, and the gym ain't going nowhere. The gym's always going to be here. I can literally do this workout within 2 days, and I can just retouch up the workout. But this interaction with you might stick with you for 2, 3, 5 years down the line. It might be a motivational point that kind of ignites a fire for you to keep going. Okay? So when I see people, and especially people who call themselves influencers, making fun of somebody in the gym, bro, you had a prime moment to be a positive influence on somebody's life, somebody's journey right then and there. If they were doing the exercise wrong, go up to them. Like, hey, I don't mean to interrupt your workout, but I see you doing this workout, but can I show you a way that you could probably do it better? It might protect your lower back, or you might feel it. And yeah, sure, go ahead. And you see what I'm saying? So make fun of it. And if you're having a bad day, like as in the video, that guy from the morning, bro, don't take it out on people. Okay? Don't take it out on people. The person in the gym has nothing to do with your bad day, has nothing to do with your bad mood.
Yep.
Okay? Put your headphones on, put on your favorite song, go punch the punching bag, kick it, take a medicine ball, slam it as hard as you can against the floor. Do what you got to do, but don't take it out on the next person, because everybody in that gym is facing some kind of a struggle. You're not the only one.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, I always talk to people in gym, or people be talking to me, mostly because I'm a fitness instructor. I always like to talk to my participants. It's like,
yeah,
they ask me questions like how to do this workout. I may don't have the exact answer, but I answer it to the best of their ability. And like, I welcome everybody in my class. Like, it don't matter if they're strong, if you're slow, or you're out of shape. I want to welcome everybody, because of course, this is a community.
Yeah. We should all be here to help everybody else. See what I'm saying? Because even though I've been in the industry over 20 years, you and I might be in the gym talking about something, and you might give me a piece of knowledge that I had no clue on. Right? The second you think you know it all, you've just become an idiot.
Yep.
That's my biggest thing. The second you think you know it all, you're closing yourself off from future knowledge. Okay, you can never learn enough in my aspect. I'm always learning, always picking up different pieces of information.
Yeah.
I love it. The more information I got, I love it. I want to seek more, and I keep looking for it.
Yeah. That one thing that Bruce Lee always says, that famous quote? Can you remember it?
Which one?
The usefulness of the cup is its emptiness.
Yes. I was going to remember the one that my favorite quote of him was the water quote.
Oh yeah, be like water.
I can quote that. Oh, I remember seeing it when I was like, what, 6 or 7 for the first time, I think I was. And for some reason, I just memorized it, and I can like rattle it off every time I tell everybody, especially when I coach fighters, and I'm trying to tell them to relax in the ring, because everybody thinks that if you tense up is better. I'm like, no, relax, bro. I'm like, you ever seen Bruce Lee's interview about water? Like, if you put water in a pot, it becomes the pot. If you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water. Flow, move. When the time comes in, bam, strike hard. But don't stay tense. Be loose like water, flowing. Flow with the movement. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love that. The philosophy is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the usefulness of the cup is like my most personal favorite. Now, it kind of took me a while to understand, but you understand that actually I was watching a movie that not he was in there, but it was like a movie that's this kid was inspired by Bruce Lee, and then of course Bruce Lee's ghost come in there, and then he's talking about the usefulness of the cup is emptiness, and then of course if the cup is already full, the knowledge that I'm giving you is gonna overflow, so it's not gonna register. It's not gonna register in that cup. Yeah. Yeah. So I just love that quote. It's like I'm constantly learning. It's like with martial arts, other than being familiar with my own style, I'm going out there at least looking at other styles as well. And I'll talk to other people in the other styles, so I get information from there. So basically, we're like in the fitness community, the martial arts community, we're like all as one. We're not enemies. So,
no. I've always said there's benefits to all of the martial arts. Well, the one thing I tell everybody, and for anybody who's looking to, put their kids in something that's going to help them build confidence, teach them respect, self-confidence, and respect and dedication, traditional martial arts. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the way to go. Yeah, you can put them in sports, but sports is more of a team effort, right? So they're counting on a team. Martial arts is where you find the journey within yourself. Okay, so that's why I've always loved the traditional martial arts. And it's, I don't know, man, it's always something that I've always harpened back to. Some reason I've always like with traditional martial arts, I always teach everybody traditional martial arts kicks, even my fighters. And like I said, I started with Kung Fu, went to Taekwondo because I got tired of not doing anything in like tournaments. So I transferred over to Taekwondo. Then I got back into karate when my brother started karate. I tried American style kickboxing, which is just above the waist kickboxing. And then I found Muay Thai kickboxing and I started practicing that. My brother and I dabbled in capoeira for a while.
Capoeira.
Yeah, we did judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I've messed around with a lot of different martial arts, man. You know, my three common ones have always been karate, kung fu, and taekwondo.
Yeah,
I've always been my base.
Yeah, I can tell you, like nowadays, is like, you know, with things evolving, you know, with my style, you know, we kind of incorporate everything from kind of like traditional martial arts to like street fighting. And,
Yeah.
You know, because you never know, like you're gonna end up in the ground, so you got to be able to protect yourself on the ground. Or if you take somebody in the ground, you know, you don't want to treat it like a sport. You know, you're trying to get out of there. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people think that we martial artists, we train to kick people's ass. No, we train not to fight, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
We train to get out of a fight, to de-escalate a situation. Like I remember, because I'm a bouncer, of course you see my post when I used to bounce. And every time somebody would get close, I'd always extend my hand out to them. And everybody's like, why do you always put your arms out? That's my gauge. The second their body touches my hand, depending on the force, I know they're coming with evil intentions. I know they're coming to forcefully, you know, approach me. I can either lay them out or take them down, depending on the situation. And 9 times out of 10, I would just take the person to the ground. The second I felt that pressure, if my hand just slightly touched them, all right, they're not going to do anything. But the second they touched my hand and my hand came towards my body, now they're rushing me. So the second I feel that rush, you know, I use their own momentum coming forward and I just boom. Before they know it, they're on the ground. They don't even know what happened.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm cautious as well. You know, if I'm talking to somebody, I make sure I got a distance or something's in between me. So I don't need to be that close to somebody to talk to them. You know,
Exactly.
like if I'm actually trying to meet somebody, I keep my distance. You know, I don't want to be the threat, or I don't want that person to be a threat. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So before we get to our hidden gem, here's the last question. What motivational quote or inspirational quote that you describes your journey?
Believe it or not, it's probably a tattoo that I have on my arm that I got from the movie The Crow. Okay, it says it can't rain all the time. Okay. One thing I like I said, I'm very open about is I do suffer from depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And I remember one prep I went through, I was in a full-blown depression, but for some reason I just couldn't give up on my prep. I couldn't. My fiance and a very good friend of mine wouldn't let me. They were always checking in on me, always talking to me, and I got through it. And that made me realize, like, you know, no matter how hard it looks, it's always going to get better. Every rainy day, remember, it can't rain all the time. It may be raining now, but eventually the rain's going to stop. You're going to get through it.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So that just kind of keeps me going. It's like every time I'm going through something, like if I'm in a prep and I'm having a rough time, I just look at that. Can't rain all the time. All right, this is going to pass. You know what I mean? I'm going to get through this. So that's my one thing for me, especially because of the depression and stuff. It's a lot harder. There's more mental aspect to it. But yeah, I just love that one. That's why if I put it on my arm, you know what I mean? It's there forever. So
yeah. I mean, we can sweat like rain, but you know, of course, it can't rain.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our hidden gem segment of the interview. So this is the fun part of it. So I'm gonna ask you several questions. You answer them at the best of your ability.
You got it.
All right, here goes. The first question: the best advice you ever gotten, and who said it?
Best advice I've ever gotten, and who said it? Ooh, that's a good one. I've gotten so many different pieces of advice during my days. I would have to say my kickboxing trainer gave me a piece of advice of, it's weird, but it made me think. It's, what is it? How does it go again? He used to say this to me. Fatigue makes coward out of men. Okay. And I couldn't get why he was telling me that. You know what I mean? But again, I got it because that's what I said. He helped me push and find that little bit extra in me. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a tough guy, but can you be that tough guy when you're tired, when you have nothing left? Can you dig down deep? Find that little bit of extra, if you want to say oomph, to get past this. And it's something that stuck with me. And that's why I say all the dedication that I had in kickboxing, I just transferred over to bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. So that saying that he had in me, even though it's not necessarily advice, but for me, I took it as advice because it was a way for me to find an avenue to dig deep within myself and find that little bit of extra to get past things. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I kind of relate to that because, of course, I'm thinking about my 4th degree black belt test, and I mean, yeah, they was riding me hard. So I mean, they was gonna let me go off easily. You know, I'm up here like tired, and I couldn't even do anything. But I say this is like my ticket to get that 5th degree because when I go for 5th degree, I don't have to test physically. I just have to do a couple classes, and then from there, I just get my black jacket. Yeah. So. I mean, that was like my toughest challenge, and also I was thinking about my grandma who passed away that same year. And, I mean, I didn't have nobody to come with me to test other than my master instructor. But, I had my picture of my grandma like on the bench. And I was looking at her say, I need to do this. I mean, I need to win. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. All right. The next question. The worst advice you ever gotten?
Worst advice I ever gotten. Be happy just to compete.
Yeah.
I've never liked that saying.
Yeah.
I've anytime I train clients, I ask them, you want to compete or you want to win? Same thing. And same thing in kickboxing. I tell everybody, you want to fight or you want to be a fighter? Like, you don't do something just to do it. You want to be, if you don't go into something, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, martial arts, and you as a martial artist, wrestler, if you don't go into it to be the best, then why are you going into it? Yeah. If you're not giving your best effort and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just happy to be there. No. If you want to have fun, play a game on the PlayStation, play a game on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. There you can have fun. But yeah, you can have fun in the aspect of you enjoying what you're doing, but it's going to be work. So I remember when I was getting ready for my first show, people were like, yeah, just be happy to compete. No, I'm not going to be happy to compete. I want to win. Like, I'm not doing this just to do it so I can go up there and say, yeah, I did a bodybuilding show. No, I'm going to win. Like, you guys can go up there to compete. I'm going to win.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the best advice. You go in there just to have fun. I mean, what are you winning? That's too easy. I mean,
yeah.
I always say, like, a game is not a game if you don't lose at all. So really, I mean, and also, like I say, like, for me, it's like my coach would say, my track coach says, you either win or lose by an inch. So,
yep.
Yeah. So for me, when I competed like in Vegas this year, and I mean, I was competing against one person. I wanted to win, but luckily, I was this close. I lost by at least a 0.3 of a point. So I was lost by an inch. I could have won, but I lost. But for me, my goal is to win by that inch.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can either do the same thing or do something different. So I mean, that's my goal right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing with this knee injury. I mean, my goal is to at least win my knee back. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your mobility back, right? It's something that's you're not gonna let it stop you. Mm-hmm. Right? You're not gonna. Well, my knees. I'm happy that it's fixed. Okay, is it fixed? But can you get back to doing the stuff you were doing before? Right? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand that concept that people have. If people think that way, hey, to each their own. But I think there'd be more goals achieved if you were just willing to take that extra step. You know what I mean? Get out of your comfort zone. Get that little bit of extra, and who knows?
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Nee, it's time to get back to work now. Yeah, so after this podcast, I'm getting this knee back to work. All right. How would you reward yourself? I kind of call this the guilty pleasure.
I got too many guilty pleasures. I like to torture my fiance. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I torture that poor girl. I scare the shit out of her sometimes. I'm always putting practical jokes on her. It takes the edge off because we're both competitors. Yeah. Right? So the monotony of working out, cardio, constant meal prep, it takes the edge off. You know what I mean? So I enjoy doing that. It's just something that takes my mind off of, when we have like prank wars and stuff, it just takes my mind off of bodybuilding for a bit.
Yeah.
For that little bit of time when she's thinking of what she's going to do to get me back. And before she's thinking, I'm already thinking of the comeback to her comeback. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just that little bit of extra that just takes the edge. It just allows us to be out of the bodybuilding moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta have that fun because you working hard and then you don't get that break, but you have a fun side to like what you're doing.
Yeah, you gotta have sometimes you gotta have that little bit of a mental distraction.
Yeah.
Like you do your martial arts, you do your classes, and then you do your wrestling. So I'm sure somewhere in between there, because I've seen you at your Comic-Cons, I've seen you cosplay, I've seen them. So that's like your getaway where you're not worrying about any of those three things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's your thing. Okay, I don't have to think about my classes. I don't have to think about my martial arts. I don't got to think about my wrestling. This is my moment here to just be TJ in my area, right? So I think everybody needs that, and that's our thing. Like, we'll joke around and play practical jokes, or it's mostly me doing them because I'm like, I love, like, my mind is really warped when it comes to practical jokes. So, but yeah, I just love doing them because, again, it just takes our edge off. It gives us a little bit something that moment. We don't got to think about prepping or what show we're going to do next or anything like that.
I mean, yeah, that's probably the best way to go. Just like have your own fun. All right. What famous celebrity would you like to work out with? I think after all the people I interviewed, they say The Rock, but do you have anybody else in mind you want to work out with?
Believe it or not, my answer is going to be a little bit different because the one person that I like as a celebrity, he's pretty fit and he's a martial artist, but he doesn't get as much praise, is Scott Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to get that guy in the gym. Let's do a workout and then let's do some sparring. That's why. He's a guy that I'm shocked that he's not in blockbuster Hollywood movies yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in Doctor Strange, but he had a bit part. But definitely Scott Atkins would be because that's a guy I can cover both fields. He's fit as hell.
Yeah.
So we can work out and then we can do our sparring and I get some nice, either traditional martial arts or kickboxing sparring in. You know what I mean? So it covers both areas for me.
Oh yeah,
so definitely.
That's a good pick. Yes. Scott
See?
Atkins. Yeah. Yeah.
You won't hear that one from many people though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, my pick, call me crazy, but I've been an admirer of Rocky movies. So I say probably Sylvester Stallone or Carl Weathers. I probably would like to work out with those guys if they're still at their prime. Well, I think Sylvester Stallone still works out, but Carl Weathers, I mean, if he was to still work out, I would like to jump rope with him or just do boxing, just the eye of the tiger stuff.
See, my problem with those guys, I'll be quoting too many of their movies. We won't work out at all. They get pissed at me, man. I quote too many of their movies.
Yeah, it's like Carl Weathers Day. There is no tomorrow.
Yes.
Man. All right. Secret talent.
Secret talent. I got a couple. My dad was a singer. My older sister is a singer. Me and my brother were part of a singing group when we grew up in Puerto Rico. I'm a self-trained dancer. I used to be part of a group of the battle groups with the pop locking. I'm a certified chef. So I got a couple of little hidden skills there. You know what I mean? That not too many people know about.
So your singing group is almost like Elder Bars, right? Yeah. Yeah.
You saw those posts? I got a friend of mine who, the night I won my title, there's a picture of me in my title belt, and he always, every time I post it, he puts up a picture of El DeBarge underneath it, and he's like, "This is your brother, your long lost brother." I'm like, "Oh God, bro."
Oh wow. Oh man, it's like as soon as I felt I was watching Last Dragon last night. And I was thinking about that Elder Bars. They have him up there singing rhythm.
Yeah, that's my movie, yo, The Last Dragon.
Yeah, I think if
you could see the back of this shirt, you would laugh that you just brought up that movie.
Yeah,
the back of this shirt has Show Enough on it.
Oh, Show Enough. Yeah, I got the hair for it too. So yeah,
that's your next cosplay right there, bro.
Oh yeah, so once I get my master rank, yeah, that'll be my next cosplay.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. If you were in a movie, what kind of movie would you be in?
Well, I've actually been in a couple of movies already. My favorite genre, of course, is always going to be action. So I was already in one movie called Guns of Eden, a very short role. Of course, I played a drug trafficker. Then I was in another movie that's in final production now called Slap Straight. It's about a slap fighter, which slap fighting is coming up now and all that stuff like that. So, and then I was in a couple of short films for the 48-hour film project. One was called Project Genesis, that I actually won an award for best choreography, fight and dance, because I choreographed all the fight scenes for the film. So, but yeah, definitely my thing would be action, because it wouldn't be believable for me to be in horror.
Yeah. Because
I'm Hispanic and Black, bro. I'm leaving. Okay, I'm not sticking around. Like if I'm in a horror movie, what's that noise? It ain't bothering me. I don't know. I'm not gonna check it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a killer, we're not gonna fall. We're gonna run and we're gonna survive. Like, let's go. It's out. I'm locking the door. It ain't coming in. You know? I don't think I'd be believable in a horror movie, but action, yeah, action has always been my thing.
Yeah, like I say, with all the horror actors I met, I mean, I think I got better insurance, so nothing ain't gonna happen to me. Yeah. All right. Last question. 10 years from now, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I see myself. It's funny. I see myself, Hollywood, baby, doing movies, man, doing it big.
Yeah.
That's always been my goal, my end game. Like I said, I love bodybuilding, I love kickboxing and everything, but again, acting is, again, in school, like that when I got involved in drama in school and stuff, I like it, and it's funny that now Buffalo is actually blowing up with a lot of the independent filmmakers and stuff coming to Buffalo and making films. Mm-hmm. So I've had the privilege to work with a couple in a couple of movies, so I just want to continue it, you know what I mean? And like I said, man, be the first like Hispanic Denzel, bro. You never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to. If a movie comes out, I probably want to go see it. So if it comes to Regal, or if it comes like digital, I'll probably go watch it. Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, I'll be putting up notification when the movies do hit, and stuff like that. So I know one's coming. I think this Tubi, or another one of the other free streaming services is the Guns of Eden. But like I said, Slap Straight, that's in final production now. But if anybody anybody wants to see any of my work as far as the independent luminary figures group on Facebook, you can go there and you'll see the one we did called Wangsters and Project Genesis.
Yeah, I think I know I was in a movie. It was called Smart Marks. It was like a wrestling type movie. And
yes.
Yeah, because I was in a couple scenes. It's like I was in a scene where I was like doing chain in the ring, and of course there was a scene I was in the back in the locker room, and then of course all the a guy got slapped, and then we all reacted to it. So yeah, I was.
Yeah. Those are the same guys. Yeah. Yeah, I guess they said they want to they're thinking about doing a part 2 of that too.
Oh yeah, they better have me in there too. Yeah. I mean, had me go for the heavyweight title because yeah. So before I injured myself, I mean, I was in the number one contenders match, and of course, that could have been my chance to like go for the heavyweight title. So yeah,
They always happen at the wrong time, but it only strengthens us, man.
yeah. As soon as I get better, I'm going back for that heavyweight title.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I always say I was already a tag champion, so yeah. I mean, get that title, the main title.
Hell yeah, that's what you want, bro. Like I said, you're going to be the best. You get in there to be the best at what you do. So if that's me holding the world title, then that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, but yeah, no matter how many championships you win, you're still a challenger. So yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. So before we close out, do you have any last minute words to say to those listeners out there?
My last minute word would say, don't give up, man. If you're just starting or you're in between, and you're finding it rough, keep going, keep pushing through. And remember this. This is one thing I've always told everybody. Anybody who says that you are too obsessed with your fitness journey, just understand that obsessed is a word that the lazy use to describe the dedicated. Okay? It's your journey. It's not theirs. Keep pushing through.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about this one lady that I usually see running out there. She's like probably in her 80s or something, but she's like running like any normal person doing that. And I actually caught her at the store one time and kind of introduced myself and said I was inspired that she was running, and she pretty much said she runs like almost every day. She never stops. So yeah. I mean, that's inspiring. So you don't let old age get to you. So yeah, that's
you're only as old as you feel, bro.
Exactly.
And again, if you take care of yourself, again, I'm 46, and everybody finds it hard to believe that I'm 46. When I tell them about the kids I have and how I'm a grandfather already, they're like, "You're too young to be a grandfather." I'm like, "Bro, I'm 46. You're not 46. I'm like, "I'm 46, bro." Like, then I got to show them my ID and shit. Everybody like, "I thought you were in your 30s. I'm like, "Thank you." But again, like I said, I've always trained for something. So I've always taken care of myself. I've eaten right for something. After when I was younger, it was sports, martial arts. I fell off for a while, but then I got back on track with it. You know what I mean? So you take care of your body's going to take care of you.
Yeah. And I know my body's going to take care of me. I mean, I'm taking care of my body as well. I mean, I ain't letting it die.
Nah, hell no.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So thank you very much, Mark, for joining us on the Fit Fighter podcast. So we're going to close this out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to close this out with my little closure. So for those who are just joining me, make sure you tune into my previous episodes on the BICBBRadio.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And I'll see you next time for another episode here at the Fit Fighter Podcast. This is your host, TJ Williams, closing the gym.